everybody. Welcome to our next episode of Pin Voyagers. We're so excited to see you guys again. Um,
Woo!
so, Terry and I have been kind of talking a little bit about what has happened in the pin world regarding the pin world prior to COVID and then during COVID and now after. And Terry, I don't know about you, but I'm trying to pinpoint like what happened, like what made the pen world go just crazy. And I have some ideas, and I want to hear from you what your ideas are as well.
So when asking that question, I think it's a little broad, but here are some pinpoints that I can that come off the top of my head, right? So at the beginning of COVID, we entered through a moment of quarantine where now everybody is being sent home, whether it's you're being laid off, furloughed, work from home, everybody is home. Therefore, that just opened up the accessibility for everybody to start using social media more, being on the internet, window shopping. There's so much to do because we're not used to all this time to ourselves. It brought up a lot of creativity in people, which is really exciting too. You started to see people making, what are those things called, like diamond puzzles, regular
Oh yeah.
puzzles from back in the days. I haven't done a puzzle since I was probably 10. So, so when it comes to entering the fantasy world, it seems like it opened a new door to a lot of people that they've never had a chance to see before or explore. And then in that moment, people who were probably already pin collectors started to see elaborate or more creative versions of characters that they liked. And then the pins became even more of a scarcity, like more reason for people to jump on it because it's such a small LE that people do to begin with. And now there's like a hunt for them, like how am I going to get this? And I think people jumped on that opportunity to increase the value of their pins, is what I would add in a nutshell.
I'm curious, like, it would be interesting if we put a poll out to find out how many new people like entered the fantasy world as COVID happened. Because, when I came on the fantasy pin world, and you did as well, when we went to Disney and we started collecting the little pins, and then it kind of broadened our horizons through Disney. But if people aren't going to Disney, then I wonder like what it was that like brought them to the fantasy pin world. Because I had put this question out on the Instagram today, and some people said, well, people have nothing else to do, so they stumbled upon it, and more people are
Right.
getting into the fantasy pin world, which I'm sure is true. But I'm just curious, like, I wonder like what took people down that rabbit hole to get them interested in fantasy pins in the first place.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We should probably ask them, A, how did they get into the world? And B, what was their introduction? Because for me, I was always, just like you said, going into the parks, pin training, collecting. And then it wasn't until I wasn't in the whole like going to the parks as often anymore. When I lived in San Francisco, I was disconnected. But I've always been into horror per se, horror and Disney, and somehow found the Disney monster. Maybe because he has, if you look at his followers, he has maybe over 26K. So it was probably advertised to me at some point somewhere um in the search or explore page. And then from there, um people would always post in search of, okay, that's cool, let me click on that tag to see where that takes me. And you're like, oh, what is this world? I love everything about it.
Yeah, you know, I honestly thought that. Well, I thought for a while that we were going to shut down. My coworkers actually made fun of me when I was like, "Is anyone else in January?" I was like, "Is anyone else worried about what's happening in China?" And they're like, "No, it's not going to affect us." I'm like, "Dude, it's coming, right?" And then
Hmm.
I told people for a long time, I was like, "Yeah, the parks are gonna shut down." I didn't think maybe that they were going to be shut down as long as they were, but
Same.
I did think though that maybe some of the fantasy pins that I had been really searching for, that I was gonna get lucky because I thought maybe people will sell them. This grandmother willow, I'll move so you can see it. I had been on the hunt for her for a long time, and in February I had the opportunity to buy her in an auction, and I just couldn't bring myself to do it. So I was like, oh man, maybe now I will get the opportunity to buy her. And I actually thought pins were going to go a little cheaper, and that it did the polar opposite. All the prices went up, and then I got the opportunity to buy her again. And at that point, she doubled in price. And I'm still asking myself, like, I don't understand how this happened. And I really wish I could go back to that February
To
and tell
get
myself,
it for
like,
double less.
dude, just buy it. Like, um, and I kind of have a little bit of a hunch that I know that a lot of creators, um, another issue besides what's happening like with COVID is the Black Lives Matter. And a lot of creators were like, I feel strongly about this. I want to raise money for a good cause, which is amazing, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I feel the same way. And I think that a lot of creators put some of their pins up for auction, and people will say it all the time, like, auction should not determine what the price, or at least a charity auction should not determine what the price of the pin is going to be, because you're giving that money to charity. But that's what I started to see when the prices started going up. I think a lot of creators were like, hey, let's, Penny Arcade was one of them, Designs by Jen, Powerline Pin Traders. I think Daddy Does Disney. I think that's his name or her name. There was just some of these pin creators that were like, hey, like, let's put this money to a good cause. And then people were like, oh, I'm so sorry. How much can I get? And that Mulan, do you know, with the stone dragon where she's like, has her face hidden? That pin you never saw, right? And then,
And we still never see, but I do see it in search of a lot.
yeah, well, the one lady put that pin up for a Black Lives Matter charity, and it got over $1,000. That pin, that single pin, raised over $1,000. So
Wow.
I think people are seeing that and they're like, oh my gosh, like, this is how much this pin is. And my parents, you can see the Powerline Pin Trader like tarot card. My parents got me that for my birthday, and I am forever grateful, because otherwise I probably wouldn't own that pin, because I got that pin before COVID happened. So
Wow.
I don't know. Like, did you notice that at all? Like, because to me, it kind of started with those auctions, and then everyone started having auctions.
I think there was a line of respect when it came to auctions. And at some point halfway through COVID, people started to test the waters, and now people are not afraid of it anymore. Um, Sadly, I don't think every person should sell a pin per auction for profit. Um, it takes away the fun a little bit, because now um, the training world is becoming a little bit less, and there's a small little community of new people that are skeptical about the pin community as well, because of the prices that they see. But then that's why I like to come into place. I have a grail that you want, um and if you have something to trade, of course I'll trade it with you. And I've actually sold it at in hand price for someone, for them to get their grail. So I feel good about being able to assist in that way. But it's very far and thin between to come across people like that nowadays, sadly.
Yeah. Yeah. I
But that's
just,
also the importance of pin friends. I
yes.
wanted to add that, because I just want to throw out there, I have a great pin friend, got me because they're in a pin group, was able to get a grail for me. I was able to trade that grail for another grail. Like, you want to make pin
Mhm.
friends, make pin friends.
So I noticed that the auctions were happening for charity, and then people started having their own auctions. And then just the prices, and we kind of talked about this last month a little bit with the Designs by Jen, the Noir pins. And I feel like people were trading them at, maybe like $100. You could have gotten some of like the Meg and Aurora and some of the OG, original Noirs. And now I I feel like that Ariel, the first one, not the second one, um, that pin. I don't know if I should say how much I bought it for. I don't know if that's rude or
Oh
not.
no, you bought
Yeah, I bought it. I mean that, but I just saw it. Uh, to like whenever we filmed last, it was for sale for 450, and I don't think anyone was willing to buy it for that. So now it's down to 300, but that is nowhere near how much I paid for it. So I think prices are slowly starting to come down.
I think so too. I did see that aerial for about maybe 180 or somewhere around 200. It's a little higher than what I'm comfortable paying with, so I'm a little
Yeah.
sad I didn't buy it, but it's okay. I have number 2 aerial, which I'm willing to trade for number 1.
I do think, and I had kind of said this, um, that I do think your pins will eventually come around. I mean, my grandmother Willow eventually came around.
I always tell people that if you didn't get it the first time in the pre-sale, you didn't get it in the in hand, you didn't get it when it was popular during the um, for trade, for sale type when right when it came out, don't worry. I highly believe it will come back again. They always come back. Something always happens where someone is tired of a collection that they have, so they want to trade it out or sell it because they want to focus on other collections. Or some people at the time they just really need to resell it. They come back. They always come back.
Unfortunately, that pin came back at twice the price. but I am still grateful that I own her and that she's in my collection. And we kind of talked about this last week too. Everyone's grail is different, and I know we're going to bring that up in a future episode of how to get your grail. Um, but yeah, I wanna tell like new people who are getting into this community. I do think the prices are coming down, so don't stress. Don't get yourself in pin jail.
Yeah, she's been scolded already
I
this
know.
month from me.
So, um, but I think that we'll slowly start to see things go down. So like the more groups, not necessarily like sale groups, but the more groups you belong to. So like I'm on Yo-Yo's Facebook page, I'm on Designs by Jen's Facebook page, and I'm on Instagram. So that way I can look. And sometimes it's all about finding that pin, right? Like at that moment when someone posts it, it's like the pin gods look down on you and you're like, oh my God, I wanted this pin. And you happen to be the first person to respond to it.
Yes, that's
So
happened to me with someone. I believe his name is Edward. I'm sorry, I don't know your Instagram name, but I met you on Facebook, and that's how I got the Pocahontas Noir. One day he's just like, for
ooh,
sale, and I was like, hello, and then and then he's like, wow, that was fast. And I was like, you better believe it. I
yeah.
want this pin.
Yeah, sometimes it's just about the right thing at the right time, and and you just never know when that's going to happen.
Yep, very true.
I hope that you enjoyed our topic of conversation today. I know that I have been wanting to talk about this topic for so long. I just felt so passionate about it. And it's one of the reasons that I wanted to start this YouTube channel in the first place, because I just literally could not wrap my head around why the fantasy pen world prices had exploded so much. And I would love to hear your comments as to why you guys think that the prices have inflated. And there's so many reasons as to why. I'm sure you can't just pinpoint one, but I would still love to hear everyone's theories. And just remember, at the end of the day, it's just a pin. Odds are it's going to come up again. And please remember, use trading as a great way to trade pins, because that way, hopefully, you're not spending an obscene amount of money, And it's so much fun to trade with people. And I've met so many great people through the pin trading world because of this. So again, I hope you had fun today. Please like and subscribe our video. And until next time, thank you so much.
Wherever we're going, I could not say for sure. Better not knowing, but it's better than before. But here's the cure. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine, everybody join